Запрошуємо до слова полковника Андрія Лисенка, речника інформаційно-аналітичного центру Ради національної безпеки та оборони України. Пане Лисенко, прошу.
Доброго дня, шановні колеги. Режим тиші, який вчора був встановлено попри усі перестороги.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The quiet period that was started yesterday has brought first positive results. For the first time, we have not lost soldiers to wounds or death. The number and intensity of shooting has significantly decreased from the moment of announcing ceasefire on both sides. Only 16 cases of fire have happened, and we review them as provocations. We want to underline that our soldiers have not responded to provocations and the infringements near Donetsk. Terrorists have shot the positions of Ukrainian military at the territory of airport and near Marianka from automatic and the NIS equipment near Debaltsevo and Ridkadub in Nikishina, as well as Horlivka, Mayorsky, and Shumy, as well as near Bakhmutovka highway near Krymsky and Sokilniki. On the south, the criminals have shot at the Mykolaiv-Volnovasky district. In the last 24 hours, we have had 7 cases of air drone surveillance by Russian drones at 5:35 p.m. In direction of Mariupol Sartana and at 6:50 p.m. in Sartana-Kominternova. Our military continues to train and now at International Center of Peacekeeping and Security at the Academy of Petrosa Haidachny. We are bringing together 44th Artillery Brigade. They have 152 millimeter guns, Getsint, and they were practicing shooting to up to 10 kilometers, as well as National Guard Station Rakovets of Western Command. The snipers and RPG launchers were practicing in tactics and shootings during special operations. The ATO citizen villages, as a result of attacks by terrorists, 7 civilians were wounded and they were sent to hospitals and they received necessary medical assistance. As in the north part of Eleanor, in Verkhnya Vilkhova, terrorists have attacked and destroyed one residential house, and neighboring houses have been damaged, windows, doors, facades, as well as private car. Part of the village remains without gas because of gas line damage. As well as in Stanitsa Luhanska, the gas station, the building of the road construction company, and some private buildings on Gorkova Street. Electricity lines have been damaged, but no one was wounded or killed. At 1:30 a.m. in Odessa, volunteer assistance office have been bombed by terrorists, The building is located in new office center. No casualties at this time. Happily, the criminal case was opened and information is introduced into United Registry of Pre-Trial Investigations according to Article 258 of Criminal Code of Ukraine, a terrorist act, and the National Security Service in Odessa started investigation. On the 3rd of December, I'll remind you, there was another terrorist act in Odessa. The Patriot shop with Ukrainian insignia was bombed. UN Supreme Commissioner on Refugees office has allocated humanitarian aid to Artemivsk district to 2,720 persons in the framework of the program to fulfill the project of financial aid to IDPs in the Donetsk region. Financial assistance was given between 3,750 hryvnias per family, depending on number of members of the family in Drushkivsk. 7 such families were assisted with total amount of 40,500 hryvnias. Yesterday, from the Balcovo Czech charitable foundation, people in hurt has assisted families, providing 200 food packages, and they have also received applications from 100 families of IDPs. There is tendency of moving IDPs from terrorist-controlled territories to Ukrainian regions. About 514,000 persons have been displaced since beginning of war, and over last 24 hours, 7,246 people, because of the increasing flow of IDPs. Ministry of Healthcare is providing additional assistance to medical personnel, ambulances, to give special care to children, elderly, and women. 4 transit points of national service on emergency situations keeps working in Donetsk, near Krasnoarmysk and Mariupol in Lugansk region, near cities of Svatova and Lysychansk. Those IDP reception centers continue to work. The electricity has been returned to Vuhlehirskov, Yanakiev district of the Donetsk region. Those as well as filtering station in Horlivka has renewed its work because of repair that was done after the destruction made by terrorist shelling. International assistance, President of the United States Barack Obama and Prime Minister of Poland, Eva Kopacz, have called Russia to stop destabilization of situation in the east of Ukraine. 2 leaders have agreed to increase assistance to Ukrainian government to implement reforms for stabilization of economy, to strengthen the governance system, and called Russia to stop destabilization acts in Ukraine. Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, has stated that there is no double opinion concerning actions of Russia against its neighboring countries. Nothing would justify annexation of Crimea and indirect participation of Russia in the east of Ukraine. This is infringement of international law, and sanctions against Russia are unavoidable, Ms. Merkel said. Prime Minister of Poland, Eva Kopacz, during summit of Visegrad Group, has stated that EU should use every opportunity of Eastern Partnership to assist Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova. She says that in light of Ukrainian difficulties as its sovereignty is under attack, Europe must speak in the same voice to assist Ukraine. We cannot agree to infringement of territorial integrity of Ukraine. This is all your questions, please. Interfox, Ukraine. Has Ukrainian side received a response from the terrorists about their readiness to participate in Minsk negotiations? The date and other details of this meeting. Negotiations continue. The latest data is not open yet. Information about the date and the issues to be discussed will be open to you as soon as it's approved. Nikolai, Wall Street Journal. The ceasefire continues. Do I understand correctly? Is it coordinated with other side? What are the decisions? This ceasefire regime was supported, and we see a significant decrease in shelling, and the remaining ones are provocational shelling. So we continue the ceasefire regime, and we hope that the number of shelling and shooting would decrease to go down to zero, and it will give us first steps to allow negotiations between the parties and to continue the negotiations in order to completely stop the war in Donbass. What can you say about the next humanitarian convoy from Russia that would arrive from Russia on the 12th of December, and they're picking another one? What's information that you have? The humanitarian convoys that have come or the ones that are coming are not provided with humanitarian aid international norms, and they're not going through International Committee of Red Cross, so we have complete infringements and no other comment that it's going against the international agreements. We can, no other information we can give you. Natalia Marichuk, you're saying that peace negotiations are being prepared. Who is deciding the dates of these negotiations, and who are you negotiating with right now? We are negotiating with those who open fire. The militants, terrorists, but they're done through official party, Russian Federation, that feeds these terrorist groups through soldiers and weapons. So official parties at negotiations are discussing the dates and the results to be expected. The day of ceasefire has demonstrated that parties are trying to negotiate, and the Ukrainian side gives example of following the agreement. Was there a shooting against OSCE mission We have not received such information from OSCE. We will speak only when this information is confirmed.
Report in the Russian newspaper Novaya Gazeta, citing Kremlin officials saying they are rethinking their strategy in Donbass and they no longer want the LNR, DNR to be independent. Do you have any understanding of what is happening politically between Moscow and these republics? Do you see that there is a change in attitude over the last few days?
Thank you. Thank you for question. Дійсно, події останніх днів вказують на те, що
Really, the events of recent days show that the strategy is changing. Strategy concerning support of leaders of unlawful criminal groups in the east of Ukraine. There are conflicts between these groups that influence high ideas that used to be declared before Donbass was occupied. There are significant changes in moods of militants who do not support idea of creating new illegal territories like DNR, LNR, and humanitarian situation in the regions forces and expedites the process that we see at this time. There is growing dislike. Population continues to be angry with the militants, and militants are angry that the central government does not support them. There are differences, but at this time we work to stop fire on the territory and then to begin next steps like removal of the heavy artillery from 150 millimeters and more, 15 kilometers from the separation line, freeing all the hostages held by terrorists, introducing control on Ukrainian-Russian border with assistance of OSCE and local elections according to Ukrainian legislation. Mr. Andriy, can you tell us where are the conflicts between militants? We have information that leader of criminals of Pervomaisk, address Plotnitsky in Pervomaisk. Can you give some details of what's happening there? We are registering these facts, but we are not speaking about that. They try to find their own solutions, and many facts are not confirmed. You said that for the first time, the soldiers are not killed. Four representatives of Chernihiv Tank Brigade, where this information came from, according to our data. We have today in the ATO zone. So where? More questions? To continue, you said there were no losses among the soldiers, but how about civilians? We have 7 wounded civilians when shelling happened.
I'm not ready to state the exact locations where those people were killed. I have generalized data that
Колеги, ще
that 7 people were wounded, but we do not know where exactly. Thank you very much.